Call to order the HDRB meeting, February 18, 2025. Can we get a roll call?
Patricia James.
Glasser here.
Libby Wright.
Ken Monarch.
And we have established a quorum. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay. We're going to pick up on an item that we left from the last meeting, which is appointing a representative to the Harbor Area Review Board. So that would be one of us that attends this meeting, but will also attend the Harbor Area Review Board as our representative. So do we have any nominations?
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
I just sort of did some research on the Harbor District, and it looks like they haven't met since 2023. Is that correct?
Yeah, last week Katie kind of gave an explanation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're correct. They have not met. They are one of those boards that convenes only when an application is filed, similar to this board. There have not been many applications. The last ones that came through were over in the Strawberry area plaza for the proposed public restroom visitor center, the railroad car that's over there. They met for the Rosenwald School because that fell within the Harbor District as well. Okay. So they only meet as there's development applications that are advanced. That's correct.
And the Harbor District does not include the waterfront, the proposed boardwalk stuff?
Not Bay Avenue.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yes, it's everything around the U of the harbor.
Okay.
And it goes a little bit interior on some of the interior land coming off the harbor, but it doesn't go fully back to cover all the railroad property. So
okay.
does that make a little sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Can you nominate yourself or?
Sure.
Nominate myself?
Okay, we have Patricia.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go. Are there any public comments?
There are not.
Okay, does everyone agree with the format?
Well, when you say format, I found a mistake in one of the applications tonight, but I mean, it's talking about a shower, but it's at the restaurant, so I don't think we're talking about a shower at the restaurant, so. Yeah, it's just, I think it's maybe just a typo or something.
But the format is just this. Right?
Sure, that's what I was asking. Right.
Then the minutes would be what
Okay.
you mentioned. So does all approve with the format?
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The minutes. Anyone have any corrections to the minutes?
Okay, I was not by the minutes, it's just tonight's agenda, tonight's application.
Oh, okay. So we can approve January 21st and January 31st minutes.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Approved.
Can I sneak past you?
No unfinished business?
Sorry.
So we have, under new business, fence installation. 133 Mason Avenue.
Hello, so this is, the applicants are the Front Street Pub LLC. The site address is 133 Mason Avenue, and they are looking to install a fence for screening purposes of their propane tanks. As you see on the front page, I did an aerial map for you, and They would like to install a 6-foot brick wall with an ornamental top to screen the above-ground propane tank. On page 2, materials, of course, are brick, and under the zoning compliance, I know you all are questioning the 6-foot. It's because they did go through on February 6, 2025. They were approved for a conditional use permit by the town council on February 6, 2025 to install said non-conforming fence within the commercial C1 district to screen the propane tanks that are necessary for the operation of the business. And I do not see anyone here. Did anyone have any questions? Maybe we can answer them from the...
Yes, I do. I'm just trying to understand the order. I guess I'm a little confused, like, we didn't get to approve any of this. It all went before the council first? Is that
First,
the order?
for a conditional use permit, it comes into our office, and then it has to go through two public hearing processes, one through planning commission and one through town council, because they wanted a conditional use permit to go above the fence height that is in our zoning ordinance. So they needed that to achieve zoning approval. So you all did not see it until after they got approval, because they wouldn't come here knowing they didn't have zoning approval.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused because, like, in our guidelines, in our overlay, there's like 9.4 specifically talks about fuel tanks, where the waiver that they got is talking about dish type things, communication stuff.
No, they're talking about propane tanks.
I know that's
Right.
what they're talking about. I'm talking about the section 4.8A2 that was approved by the town council. I looked that up, and that's about communication devices. And so I just wondered how that applied,
You want to?
where we have something in
I'm
the
gonna have
overlay
Katie.
that addresses fuel tanks.
It includes communication devices.
You may be looking at the old zoning ordinance, because we still have not posted the newly adopted zoning ordinance that became effective December 19th, 2024. But if you read what went to the town council, all of that contained the relevant current zoning ordinance sections. So yes, the applicant had indicated to us early on where they were trying to place the fuel tank. We did confirm it was unable to be placed in the rear of the property because they do not own the building that is on the back side of the old Kelly's Pub building. That property, the back side of that property is owned by somebody else, which includes that sidewalk that's back there into the alley. They were unable to reach agreement to get an easement from that property owner, so the propane tanks could not be placed in the rear of the property. So the only other location to be considered was at the front of the property. In order for that to be adhered to, if we placed it there, it needed to have appropriate screening. Again, we understand that's a decision of the Historic District Review Board as to the level of screening, the type of screening that's going to be, but it needed to now be determined by the zoning approval first. If it was going to be a fence, what height could that be? 4 foot would not be sufficient, and they needed additional approvals or permissions from the town for that to be greater than 4 feet in height. So that was the first question and thing that needed to be answered. The appropriate section that went to the town council and referenced in their staff report, and I'm sorry I didn't bring that with me tonight, does include the appropriate reference as to why that was needed as a conditional use permit application through the planning commission and the town council for them to sign off on that. And so now it's before you for your considerations to the level of screening that they're proposing, which is a fence, and they provide the materials that they're looking for that fence to be made of, and what's placement of said fence in that area of the property for the effective screening of those 3 propane tanks.
So I went there and I saw that there was already one propane tank buried. There's a black
That's going to be
circular.
abandoned.
It's going to be abandoned.
Yes.
And then they put a propane tank in front of a door, and the door has not been blocked, it's just a door.
I think it was just right now for placement as they're getting materials on site to further locate it there. Knowing that these votes were forthcoming, the vendor is just getting staged to see if they can get everything ready. assuming they would hopefully achieve effective approval from the town.
I mean, this is the only place they can put the tanks.
Yes.
If the tanks don't go there, they don't.
And the tank is not going to remain in front of the door. That other door, that secondary door that's a little bit recessed, that's a handicapped access door for them. That will remain free and clear for use by that restaurant.
The
moving
door
forward.
that's blocked now?
Right.
Yeah, that tank's going to get moved. I mean, right now, the restaurant's closed for renovations. so
Yeah, no,
nobody's
I was
using
just trying to understand the
Yes.
concept, because the
Yeah.
drawing is a little,
Yeah, it's wonky.
it's
it. It won't, that
wrong.
door will not be
This is-
blocked by the tank.
Because I tried to go over there and walk it and try to figure out the drawing, and like there's a handicap door, and that's the door that's blocked.
And that will not stay blocked. That will be, those tanks will be moved to their appropriate location in that corner, and that door will remain open and unfettered for use by the public when that restaurant reopens.
And so the tanks that are replacing the one that's not going to be used, that's buried, that wasn't feasible for them to bury the tanks?
No.
I guess they told the town that.
It's not feasible because, one, because under the current building code, one, that existing tank has to be removed, or if it's going to be replaced, it had to be removed, and you can't replace it because it's no longer in conformance with the building code, it's too close to the buildings. So there's no feasible way to put an underground tank back in that location, under current building code.
So if they build the fence,
Mhm.
I'm assuming they're gonna build a brick fence that has an ornamental top that's comparable with what's there. They're gonna build that from, as you're facing the building from the right in. Is there gonna be enough room to maintain ADA access to that handicap door?
Yes,
There is.
Okay.
yes.
All right.
And we've been through this with the building official, yes.
I had a question on the gate. Is it going to swing out?
I'm unclear on the gate itself, how they're doing that. They're working on that with the vendor to ensure access for the vendor in, whether that's going to be a latch to that, if it's going to be a key code. I don't know that at this point in time. That's still being refined with the vendor.
That would be the only thing that would obstruct the handicap access.
And again, and it wouldn't stay open for long. It would just only be during the periods when they have to fill the tank.
And do they
Tanks.
have to, I don't know, do they have to put a gate there?
I think they would like to ensure nobody's really messing with the tanks.
Kids.
Sorry.
And then the other question I had was, all brick and the ornamental top, they refer to the picture of the building next door that is all brick with like a flat. Is that what they're doing?
I'm gonna let Tracy speak to it further, because she did the final review of this side of the application.
Okay, so the pictures, these are the pictures they sent me. So I'm thinking they're going to do it just like the top of that building.
Okay.
The building that it will be, I'm not going to say placed on, but built up from.
So I was just looking through, and again, I looked at 5.5.4, 2B, when it talks about when historic openings are blocked. So this would not apply because the door's not going to be blocked.
That's right, the door's not going to be blocked, and also I don't know if you can see it, there's an access gate for the back entrances to that other building. It's not going to be blocked. So when I look at sorry about the pictures, this was what was presented. When I look at the picture, so they want to go off of the handicap door. They're not going to be close to it. That has to be open. The building official will make sure of that. And if you see, there's a little opening to that first column. And
Yeah.
that's where it shows where they're going to build
That's where the wall's
Gate.
going to start? No, I'm confused where the gate's going to go. So the gate's.
So it's going to be in between the door and that first opening. The picture that was included in your packet.
But it doesn't, it
Well, this
says
is looking
6
at the
foot.
This is looking at
The
it.
little square,
Right, each
it's
block
not
is 6
accurate.
foot, is what
It's-
they're saying.
Yeah.
Not 6 foot, 6 inches.
So it's not going to block anything, any
So
of the openings
it's
that are
4
there.
feet.
Okay.
6 inches.
Yeah, so each block
Wow,
is
so
6
that's
inches.
2 feet right there.
1, 2,
So-
3.5, or 5. It's actually 5.5 feet to where the wall is,
From the
from the corner.
From the
proposed
corner.
door.
Not from the corner.
corner.
So
Right,
it's-
no, I was just talking about where the door swings open, or whichever way it goes, it's 2 feet from the handicap door. So the door won't be able to open all the way.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it will be able to open, that's what Katie had
And
just
it's shown
said.
open all the way.
Yeah.
So opened all the way, you have 2 feet behind it to the wall.
So I guess as long as the propane tanks are obscured from the street and it's comparable, looks comparable with the brick that's already there, it's gonna be fine. I think as far as historical.
And as long as.
Can I get everyone to speak into their mics, please?
So the other tank that's not going to be used anymore, that top part has to go away for all those tanks to fit in that small space. Like, again, I just stood there and tried to imagine, since I saw the tank up against the door, how it's all going to fit there. But I guess they measured it all out. But see, this is the part that I think is going to have to go away. It won't fit otherwise.
If they, are they gonna abandon the tank or?
It's going to be abandoned, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so they'll take that down.
And filled with concrete, I think they said.
Yeah.
That's what I believe that's
So
what
it'll
was
be
on
a
the,
flat surface then.
And so the awning's not going to be affected at all? There's an awning there.
I
Which
can
we
ask
approved.
them, yeah, so I can ask him that.
Okay, because that's going to look weird.
Yeah. I think it will probably cover a portion of the space, but the awning's primary purpose was to cover the door.
Yes,
So they may have to modify the awning to just cover the door.
I think the 6 feet will be below the awning. And there'll be no top on it.
no.
Right.
So I guess what we need to, from the board, is, getting back to what we need is approval of the materials,
Brick.
because it has to be, the placement has to be there, so.
And the brick will be a match to the brick of the existing building.
From the application that he filled out, that's what he said. He said brick with ornamental top.
So that's not really telling us what kind of brick.
I mean, you could put white brick.
Yeah,
Well, I guess you can say that in your recommendations of what type of brick.
Must match the building.
Well, and that, the back, that is an addition. If you go, I mean, it's 2 different colors. You can tell it's a different brick.
Right.
And I don't know if they're going to get that orangey color brick. Yeah, I mean, more likely it's going to match what's in the back, where the door
Where
is.
the addition is?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
so usually we get like a sample. They don't have a sample of the
They
brick?
did not. Normally, people send me pictures, but they did not. So you can put that in the recommendation.
For that to be approved by us.
Or
In the motion, you
approval
can put that
condition
recommendation in the motion.
upon the
Yeah.
brick matching.
As a designated condition, that's what we call them on the certificate of appropriatenesses.
So that was one of my questions, is matching the brick. I don't, obviously, it's like this is a new, there's, excuse me, the pub that's existing, right? I don't know how new the brick is here. I was wondering if it's, whatever, 50 years old, whatever, are they even able to match it? Because there's been,
It was built, the original structure was built in 1907. That's on your,
That's the bank. That's,
right.
That's-
I didn't know if that was.
well, it's the pub, it's all the pub now, so, or, yep, is it
Right.
still a pub? Yep, it's still a pub, so.
No,
But if you look at the brick.
But that
on
was the only
side
part.
house Fence.
is that-
No, no,
So that's the
where
side.
They're showing the side alley with the gate on it.
Right, yeah, right there, yeah.
That's new brick.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'm
you-
guessing. Okay, so this is all new, okay, so that's
Yeah.
fine. And I was totally reverse. I was thinking they were putting the tanks all the way in the back where the alley is.
No.
So that's just me, and that's why, so now I didn't see this. So that black thing in the front, that's a cover for the existing tank?
The buried one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. And so there'd be enough access for them to get into, fill them, and also, I guess, replace them if they, you know. everything.
Yes.
So that
Yep.
opening. They do talk about an ornamental top, and I see the awning, if we're calling it an awning here.
No, well, up above the awning is the ornamental top.
But if you look at, again, at the alley on the side, where those two new columns are, there's an ornamental top on there.
Yeah, see, I thought that's what they meant, was what's on top of the column.
I'm pretty sure that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like the little, the white.
Like a flat
Yeah.
top.
so that's something else we need to clarify then too, that that's okay for them to do it that way?
Yes.
We could put that in.
So,
Now
so
what-
Let's do it what way? I see that this awning here, if we're calling that, and then we're to see on top of the building pictures. Go ahead. Yes.
So there's one more.
Yeah, this
Go down, or up, actually. There's a third picture, now go up.
Down.
Down, I'm sorry.
No, I'm not giving you a hard, okay.
Yeah.
There's a third,
There. This is new brick. And see the top on that?
oh, okay, so there's not gonna be a cover over the entire appropriate area, just on top of the column, okay, or on top of the brick wall. Okay, thank you.
Is the column they showed 6 foot though? Or we don't know that?
I don't
The
know.
one next to it?
The one that they're showing.
We just need to stick to the application of
Well,
the
that's what I'm trying to
6-foot
figure
brick
out,
fence.
because it's a little vague.
Well, it's a foot taller than me.
There you go, stand up for us.
Yeah, the one on the side alley has nothing to do with that.
No, it doesn't.
Other than
It
we're
does not
using
have
that
the
top. No.
as the top though, isn't that what you just said? They're using that as an
Well, he was
example
just
for the
saying
top?
as an
Example of
example.
what it'll look like,
It's the example, yeah.
but that is someone else's property. And I know that's higher than 6 foot.
Okay, that was my
Theirs will
question.
only be 6 foot in order to fit under the awning.
I hate to ask this, but could we have clarification on which ornamental top he's gonna
Yeah.
use? So whether
Sure.
it's the one like the column in the picture that he showed, or the ornamental top that's on the building that he's attaching the wall to.
Sure, you could make that in the motion and just say that if it's okay with you guys, he could show our office for approval.
And the same with the gate. We don't have an example of what the gate's gonna look like.
I think he was still working with the vendor on that, but I'm sure he could send me something, and then I could send it out to everyone.
But this has already been approved by zoning.
No.
Look at Katie, right? I mean, you-
The height of
For
the
the
fence being
fence.
placed in the front.
You all
All
d-
the other elements of design and materials are under your.
Yes. Everybody who comes here, because in Article 8, it says that it has to have zoning compliance first. That's in Article 8.
So they said that he could build a 6-foot fence.
Yes.
We decide what kind,
Or if what he
To be approved,
proposed,
what kind.
yeah.
approve what kind,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's just usually we get more than this. We get, this is what the gate's gonna look like, this is what the brick's gonna look like, and this is what the
Yeah.
top will look like, and none of that's here.
Hold on, she's got the applicant on the
You,
phone.
in the area? I'd like you to come on over, because the historic board's reviewing your application right now, and they have some questions, and you need
There you
to
go.
answer those. It is right now. Okay, thank you. Yeah, bye-bye. He is on
Thank
his
you,
way
Katie.
over. He'll be here in 5
Yay.
minutes.
All right.
So the two questions that you all have for him is the gate and the ornamental top.
And the brick, 3.
And the kind of brick, yes.
Because you're saying you approved it's gonna be 6 foot high wall, right?
He actually says example of.
I mean, it kinda looks like that's the top of that awning.
Is
Right in the
that,
top wall.
No, you can talk to
Where's
John
that?
about that.
Got
and
it, got it.
discuss this with
Okay.
him. Okay?
so he put that as an example.
That's what I was thinking too. I don't know if that's right.
Yeah, simple.
I knew I saw it somewhere. Sure. You're the government.
Tracy, do we want to move on or wait?
We'll wait, he's getting ready to come.
So the three items that we talked about, everything else, are we okay with?
I actually had 4 items. I had the color and type of brick, the design and size of the cap, location and type of gate, and impact to the awning.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You're welcome.
Well, I can get your questions ready for the other
Okay.
application, the double take.
The irony of the awning is that it was put in to protect the people sitting there and coming in and out of the door. And now no one's going to be there.
Well, they were having the new gas supplier who would not fill that underground tank.
At least it was unsafe.
Oh, really? Where were they getting gas before?
They were
Different
using
vendors,
Yeah, just.
They were using it.
yes. The old restaurant was using the underground tank. The new restaurant, which owner, their vendor is a different software, different propane vendor, and he will not utilize that existing tank. Because it's an older tank, he does not want to have responsibility if there's leakage in that tank, et cetera.
Sure.
It's too close to the building anyway.
And it is too close to the building. It would not be allowed under today's building code.
To be buried that close? Because the tanks above ground are close to the building.
There is a setback requirement.
Okay.
He's coming from the pub, so you'll be
Okay.
Are you doing okay on Facebook? Any complaints about people not being able to hear? No. Okay, great.
My big fear is, you know how they backed into the Federal Credit Union? Or they ran into it? That would happen with the tanks in the front, you know? Maybe that's why they're building brick, but still.
Right. And you've got the
Here he
public.
comes.
I am so incredibly sorry.
No worries.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I have a hard time remembering what day of the week it is right now.
Can you
No,
come up to the podium
Okay.
and introduce yourself?
Good evening, my name is John Dempster. Just recently purchased Kelly's Ginger Nut Pub, and we're really excited, and we're just, sorry, I jogged from the truck. We're just trying to fix up a bit, and I'm sure they've already gone over why the need for putting the tanks above ground, and obviously the fencing, and why the necessity for the 6 foot, if you know, which was allowed by the CUP from planning. And this picture that I have in front of me, I took this picture basically to use that as an architectural. If you see on this picture on both sides, there's 2 columns. They come up and they're capped, a little bit of a concrete cap. All right, that's the entrance to John and Celia Burtis' residence. And I just thought it would be nice, and I talked to John about it. He and I are friends. He's a terrific guy. We talked about just trying to make a fence that looked visually similar to that, so that it looks like a continuation of what's been there for a long time. I believe they put those in 25, 30 years ago. So not exactly, 100 years old, but it's been there for a long time.
Like, you're talking about the fence or the wall?
The posts that are
Okay.
there.
So is the whole wall going to be brick?
Well, that's kind of what we were pushed towards and intended to do. I'm open to ideas. I think the easiest thing, I'll tell you, what we intended to do was put a brick facade on it, because for a couple of reasons. One, a brick wall has to be a certain amount of thickness for it to not topple over if somebody leans against it. So when you start stacking 4 or 5 bricks wide to make a fence that's 6 foot tall and structurally sound, you start eating up a lot of square footage. So we had an idea about creating this out of block, building it out of block on the interior. You would never see it. On the exterior, there's a product, it's basically a brick paneling, and you've seen it all over. There's a lot of different areas that use it. But it would look basically identical to what you're looking at now. It would look like brick on the outside, and then we would do a concrete cap on top. And the paneling is actually made with brick itself in it. It's just only, the paneling is about that thick as opposed to having bricks that need to be this thick.
So it would match the.
It would match the existing exterior of the pub. and of the columns adjacent.
Right, so the columns adjacent, so the kind of question that we had was, are you gonna use the concrete cap that's on the columns, or are you going to try and mimic the ornamental at the top of the building? Which one are you?
I prefer to do the concrete cap on top. I can't visualize the ornamental on the top of the building. Let me see. Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. It's gonna be far more effective for us to mimic the concrete cap.
Okay.
All the way around.
Yes.
Just on the four corners.
Yeah, there's really, so when you picture this, there's really only basically two sides to this fence, right? There's gonna be, if you were standing, I don't know how to explain this the best way possible. I think it was a drawing, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So it looks like there's three sides.
So if you're facing the building, obviously, you have a little bit of a turn in here, right? But then there's gonna have to be a gate there, because you have to obviously have access to these tanks in order to be able to fill them, maintain them, whatever. And we wanna make the gate large enough to be able to take a tank in or out, should there be any issue with the tank in the future. We could always get a crane, lift it up and over, but I think in the event of any type of emergency, it makes a lot more sense to be able to just pull it right out the gate. Now, visually, as you're walking by, you won't hardly see that gate because of, this might look like a large gap in this, but it's really.
It's not.
It's not, it's 3 feet, right? So when you start turning that thing back a couple of feet, it's gonna have very little visual evidence of there being a gate there at all. So my intention was to do the brick facade on the outside adjacent to John and Celia's entryway, obviously on the sidewalk side, so parallel to Mason Avenue, and then of course on the turn-in.
What will the gate be made of?
That's a great question. I was hoping to do a vinyl gate there because I think it's just gonna be the most lightweight and easy to do.
Well, I was wondering if it could match the gate that's there for your neighbor, that are there for the neighbors.
Doing the wrought iron? Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. As long as I can find something that's 36 inches, or I suppose I could do like 2 18s and clasp them in the middle.
So I'm still confused for the top. So is it just going to be the three corners, or four corners, or is it?
I would probably run the
all-
cap all the way around the top.
Okay.
So it's just
Okay.
continuous,
Okay,
right? So it's
yeah,
just
I think that would
looks-
look better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, rather than trying, because I don't intend to have different elevations on the fence, so I wasn't intending to have like a column on the corner and then a column on the corner that's 2 inches. We're already at 6 foot. We're already pushing it in historic. I'd rather keep it entirely at 6 foot rather than have certain column areas that are, you really have to make it visually appealing, you'd probably have to go up another 6 inches on each corner
Yeah.
to make it look like a real column, right? Well, now we're at 6'6", so it's becoming more obtrusive, in my opinion. So I would prefer to just keep it one flat level all the way around, do a concrete cap all the way around.
So what happens to the awning?
The awning's gonna stay. The awning's actually, I think it's about 7'6" to the bottom of the awning.
And I was telling them, I was totally versed in the building. So what approximately is the distance between where the handicap door is, all right, that wall there?
Yep.
And the front of the pub?
And the front of the pub, well, I can tell you it's gonna take me a second to count, pardon me.
Well, I mean, if that's the spec, I could count the things too. I mean, just roughly, is it 4 feet, is it 10 feet? You know what I'm saying for me?
It's 10 feet. 10 feet exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking
I did it all to scale, so it's each square is 6
Okay,
inches.
There you go. Oh, God, I know if that was.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so then there'd be 4 feet before this wall would appear.
Correct.
On the sidewalk.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And,
Which is why, again, if you're walking by visually, because the pub sticks out so much more than the fence, you'll really hardly ever see the gate. 'Cause you're almost, by the time you can visually see this thing, you're gonna be passing it.
and access to the door, the handicap door, I assume, is,
Still there, yeah, and required, obviously.
so we can count the bricks, or just approximately the wall in the front, like, how much space between the.
Between the handicap and the
Exactly,
fence.
side door.
There has to be for handicap accessibility, there needs to be a minimum of 36 inches, and there'll be more.
Okay, okay.
And quite frankly, this is drawn to scale. Until we have the tanks exactly set, it could end up being 42, it could end up being 48. It's gonna be somewhere in the, it'll be more than 36, certainly more than 36. And we'll just have to see exactly how much breathing room we need there.
I'm trying to find the citation on it, but I have a concern about using a paneling or facade of brick versus real brick.
Okay?
I know somewhere.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
have,
we could address that either way. I mean, the other thing that we could potentially do is we could build the interior out of brick and then put one row of bricks up so that it had the structural integrity that it needed to be thick enough, but it would have actual brick on the outside, if that makes everybody feel better.
you lost me. You'd build the interior out of brick, then put brick on the outside?
No, build the interior out of block, so it's a little
Oh, I
bit
thought
thicker, a
you
little bit more
said
stable.
brick.
Oh, I'm
You said
sorry.
brick.
I'm
That's
sorry.
why I was, okay.
I'm in a lot of different directions right now. As you guys know, I apologize again.
Actual real brick finish on the
Correct,
outside.
yeah.
That would be
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Unless you have, we've been asking for samples, we sampled what this brick facade would look like. And if we felt that it was.
I could pull up a picture on my phone, but I don't think it would probably do it justice. I did have a sample at one time.
Tracy has something.
Oh,
Excuse me.
I think we're getting a little bit off topic. We've already answered about the handicap door, and you all said that you had 4 questions. So now it's just on the brick. I did not find anything in the guidelines on 9.2, which it's also on your staff report of where you can look.
I didn't see anything different.
Yeah, it wasn't anything about he had to use a certain type of material. So, yeah, it's like a brick veneer.
and it's like a Japanese.
Yeah, it's sort of like a brick veneer. We've approved it here before.
If I may interject, from my prior job experience, I did the renovation project of the county administration building up in Eastville. We did that all with a brick thinsulate. It looks like real brick, but it's a brick thinsulate across that entire building, just to give you an idea, and I think most of you may be familiar with the county building.
And I assume that will match the existing brick?
It'll be as close as it can be. I mean, even new brick today will never be an identical match for brick that's been there
As
for
close as possible.
as close as possible.
I'm just quoting the guide where it says, "For new fencing, the material, style, and heights should be in keeping with the character of the associated buildings' architectural style as well as the surrounding district." So
Yep.
it is there. So
Yeah.
I don't think that's off topic. I think we're trying to figure that out. So
So we know
Do-
the topping, we know the distance, we know the type of brick. What was the other thing?
Awning.
The awning.
Awning, we know about that.
So
Okay.
is anyone willing to make a motion?
I move that we approve this as appropriate, given the style of the building, as stated, with the concrete cap, it does not impact the awning, and the brick will be as close as possible to the existing brick there.
And the fence should be wrought iron.
the gate.
Yes,
The gate.
the gate.
Gate, I mean
Yes,
gate.
the gate.
Should be,
Yes.
should be wrought iron to match.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay.
I want to apologize again for being tardy. I really am sorry. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
It's terrible, I'm sorry. It's 7 days a week right now, I don't know what day of the week it is. See you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, we're at 71, 603 Monroe. And for this one, I'm not for sure how you all want me to start because you're approving so much because it's a pretty big renovation. So the applicant is Restoration Exteriors LLC, and they're representing the owners, Monroe Rental Property LLC. This will be, again, at 603 Monroe. And if you want to follow me down, it says the applicant is seeking to renovate the following: replace the roof on the main house and the front porch, and they're replacing with material that is already there. And then we move down to replace the doors. And what I tried to do with the staff report is mimic the application, how it was placed in the order, because I do believe the applicant did give you all the materials and everything. So the front porch,
This might be worth just doing an element.
that's what I was
Right.
thinking.
I would say
Yep.
let's start with the roof, and then we.
So I'll bring up the applicant for the roofs.
And the applicant did a nice sort of letter with each section too.
Just trying to make this easier than the brick wall.
So you don't want to hit a brick wall?
No brick wall.
Just say your name when you get up there. Thank you.
Jason Joffrey, Restoration Exteriors.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Richard Fish, I'm the homeowner.
Okay. welcome. So we want to start with the roof.
I don't have any questions.
I don't either.
I don't either.
No.
The roof is
Roof to
fine.
roof, right?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
The front porch, metal roof.
It's
It's
yeah.
currently metal.
Yeah, it's currently a metal roof. I went by the.
Rustic.
Okay, you're repairing it?
We're
Or a new- it says a new-
replacing it.
Yeah,
A new,
replacement.
oh, okay, with
Okay,
another
got it.
metal roof.
Thank you.
Okay. No problem. Okay. Doors.
Would you like me to describe?
Well, we have pictures.
Oh, perfect.
Does anyone want to? I actually have a comment on that. The style doors,
Sorry.
Appreciate it.
so the style doors that you're planning on using are prairie style doors.
The grills, ma'am, the grills are prairie style.
Replacement doors should match the historic doors as close as possible in general composition, shape, size, profile, etc. Replacements should be limited to the door. The door should be of the correct period at the house. The house is not a prairie house.
Yes, ma'am. I presented using the prairie grills to the client because all of the windows in the house have prairie grills. And I would think if it were my home, I would want all the grills to match.
Right, 'cause if you go by the house, I thought they were, these doors match the windows better than the doors that were already on the house. Even though it's not a prairie style house, you're right.
Are those grills between the glass?
I believe on the windows, I believe they're between the glass. And also
Okay, so-
on the doors, they will be between the glass.
So the rationale is to match the existing windows?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was next? Siding. Oh, no, front porch.
Okay.
So you're repairing just sections, not the whole porch?
Yes, ma'am. Leading up to the door, on the right side, when you walk up the steps, there's kind of a wave. And so we're going to pop those, that porch flooring off and replace it in like kind, which is typically a tongue and groove porch flooring.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Siding?
So the siding's going to be hardy plank. We're going to remove both layers that are currently on the home. There's like a vinyl layer on the outside, and then underneath that is a wood layer. For hardy installation, we need to get down to the sheathing layer. So once we get down to the sheathing layer, we will be placing our branded house wrap on the house for a water and vapor barrier. And then we'll be placing the hardy plank, which is going to be the evening blue hardy plank. The trim is the Arctic white trim. That's Hardy's white. Up in the dormers, we're using a relatively new Hardy color. It's in their coastal collection. That's called Zen Blue. And that's going to be also in the shake profile, which is what is currently on the dormers right now. And I have samples of both of those colors so you can see how they all complement each other.
I don't think we care about color.
No, color's not our purview. But go back to, say, the shape?
The shake.
Oh, shake.
Yeah,
Okay.
so in a hardy, it's called hardy shingle,
Right.
but layman's terms, it's
Right.
shake.
Okay. And are the shutters in that section? No.
And I'm aware from speaking with Tracy during my submittal process that we do need to put the shutters back up.
You're going to use the existing ones?
Those existing shutters are like cheap vinyl, and they're going to look horrible if we put those back up. So my two recommendations to the client, and I don't have a definitive answer, is that we get new vinyl shutters that are appropriate in terms of color and style, either louvered or raised panel, or we could upgrade from there and go to what's called the Atlantic shutters, which are composite shutters. So if you see kind of modern day shutters that have the pintles and the S-hooks, typically those are Atlantic shutters. The big thing is there's going to be a huge gap in cost between those two brands, I'll say, of shutters. But we are planning on putting shutters back on, yes, ma'am.
Because we do have guidelines on shutters, if you're going to replace them. The shutters have to be half the size of the window, so if you could close them, they would cover the entire window.
Yes, ma'am.
And the replacements will have that,
We have to put them back.
okay?
Right, because they're supposed to be functional shutters, not just aesthetic like they are right now. So do you have any?
So if they're, so any vinyl shutter, like around town, is not going to be functional. They're installed one of two ways. They're either going to be screwed in with a stainless steel screw, let's say, and then the heads get touched up to match the shutter, or they have like a plastic pin screw.
We know that.
Okay.
The guidelines have been changed.
Gotcha.
Since those were installed.
Gotcha. So
These are the newest guidelines.
So Atlantic shutters it is. Richard? Better let Michelle know it's going to be a little more expensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that a lot of things were done before that we're not doing now, but
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have to follow the current guidelines.
I love the Atlantic shutters. My clients love the Atlantic shutters, just not the price of them.
Well, you can put it next to her. Okay. Rear porch.
Yeah, I have some questions about the rear porch. So it's not the same size, or it is the same size as what's there? Because it's talking about doing a footer, and it's 18 by 17 instead of 18 by 18?
Yes, it's going to be 18 by 17.
Okay,
Yep. It's going to go out towards the back 17 feet. And then on the side, it's going to be 18 feet wide. And that lands us down, there's a concrete walkway that comes in from the sidewalk off the side road. And that lands us on there with the correct rise and run of the steps.
so it's not going to, like, the way it is now, it's kind of comes like this and like
It
that?
has that angle on the back.
Yeah, is it still going to have that?
It's not going to have the angle.
It's gonna be
It's going to be
squared.
squared off, yeah.
Okay. And so then the steps coming up will be the same side?
Yes, ma'am. There's going to be a set of steps that face the road, and I apologize for not knowing the street. I know all
Yeah.
y'all do. And then there's going to be another set of steps that go off the other side, opposite the road.
Okay.
Yep.
All of this can be found in your packet also. He drew.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got that. Yeah, I just want to make sure I understood. And then my next question is, you're talking about doing a chimney.
Yes, ma'am.
The Echo Ridge dress,
Are we done on the rear porch?
No. I was just waiting for the
She's still
bell.
talking
this
about
is still on the porch, the chimney.
Rear porch.
Yes, ma'am.
Just making sure.
So you're going to use something called Echo Ridge dressed fieldstone?
Yes, ma'am. I have a sample of it.
So is that historically correct? I mean, does it fit with the time period of the house?
But this is a new addition.
Would it be considered a new addition? That, I don't, because they're taking down the porch and still calling it a porch, so I just,
Well, no, they're taking down a deck and putting a enclosed porch in. So
okay.
I would consider that a new addition.
And that's how he filled out his application also.
Okay. And so the Echo Ridge fieldstone it doesn't matter whether it matches with the design of the house or not?
Not on a new addition. That's not my understanding.
But I will promise you, it's going to look gorgeous.
It's just there are no other
There's no, yeah, I
ones
looked
in town,
around,
and
I didn't see anything.
They're all brick.
Yeah,
I need to make a correction to go back to the shutters. They don't have to be, they can be fixed.
They can be fixed, they just have to be they have to be a.
They have to look like
Yes.
they
They
will
have to
close,
look like.
but they don't have to actually close.
Thank you, Kat, we couldn't find it fast enough.
Yeah, it said they should
Just
be
make it bunch of
operable
them.
where feasible, but if fixed shutters are used, they should be installed in a manner which appears operable.
Yeah.
So you can go with your other, the cheap
Yeah.
version.
So our shutters will fit within the window. They won't be top of the
They
trim
have
to
to
bottom of
look
the
like-
trim, right?
like they're
Like they
closable.
Yeah, that looks like they're closable.
I preach that to my guys all the time.
Okay.
so the windows that don't have shutters, they're not gonna have shutters? Okay,
No, ma'am.
Now, there is something in here about the dormer having shutters.
About the dormer having shutters?
that
Shutters up
would
on the
work.
dormer?
I thought I saw that. No,
No,
maybe it's just
There's
me.
no room.
Let's continue with the rear
Yeah,
porch.
the dormers are so squatty.
yeah,
They don't have shutters.
yeah, well, they won't.
I think y'all would hate me if I put shutters up on that.
yeah. So just going back to the fieldstone,
Yes, ma'am.
is that a similar color to what's there?
See, so that's very, has grays and blues. right?
Okay.
And you could see where there's the grays, and then this has blue in it.
Okay,
and This has a little more
Okay.
tan to it.
okay.
Is that going to be screened in?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, it's
screened.
it's a screened porch.
And the screening, are you planning on putting it inside the rail or on the outside?
Typically, the screen will go on the outside of the rail.
I didn't note about the privacy fence. I thought I read that it was being removed and replaced, but, are you replacing the privacy wall?
We would hope to, yes.
What would it be made of then?
Excuse
Go ahead.
me, we're still on the porch.
I thought that was part of it,
That's,
okay.
well, that's a separate, we got that separate.
Okay.
Trying to do each element
Yep.
one
Yeah,
by one.
that's okay, all right.
So we got the fireplace, we got the roof of the porch is okay.
So the
Screening
chimney
is
is
good.
included in this?
Guardrails are good.
Yes.
Okay, can I have
Because
it?
it's attached.
Sorry, go ahead.
Right.
So anything else on the porch?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The chimney, how far above the roof line will the chimney be?
It should be 4 feet.
Right. It's not noted.
Yeah, it's not going to fly through the sky. We're going to build it to
No,
code,
it's
so
noted
it
in
clears
1
the
foot.
ridge. Yes, sir.
For safety reasons, I just want to make sure. It's not indicated. I didn't find
Yeah,
anything.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
so it is 4 feet. Okay,
Yeah,
thank
if
you.
we're within 10 feet of the ridge,
Yep,
we have to be 4 feet above.
don't agree?
Yep.
Okay.
And then the rear pavers and the privacy wall. And that's where you said that the privacy wall will be clad on both sides with hardy plank.
Yes, ma'am. I use the term wall. There's currently a dilapidated fence there. It's kind of blocking the view of the HVAC units that are located on the side of the home. So for consistency purposes, for beauty purposes, we thought it would be a nice idea to get rid of the dilapidated fence, and then what do you put in its place, right? Like, not a 6-foot-tall white vinyl fence that kind of doesn't fit anything historic, nor
And not
is it
allowed anymore.
typically, unless you do the whole yard and you live in a certain area that, like, that's kind of what everybody's doing, it kind of doesn't fit the mold. So kind of extending the wall of the home coming down, because that
So it's
fence line
attached
kind
to
of,
the house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah, if you look at it.
stick-built, so to speak, right? We're going to use 6x6 posts and then frame in the wall, and then just clad the wall with the hardy, so it's contiguous with the home.
Yeah,
And hardy on both sides?
Yes, sir.
Because you can see both sides of it.
And we can't use the hardy trim. Can't be as the top cap because hardy trim's not warranted to sit flat like that. So that's why we use the PVC. Route the edges, make it look nice.
But basically in the same place that the old one is now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I believe we're extending it maybe a foot or two, just for usability purposes.
So do we have any other questions on the rear porch?
No.
No? Okay. And the rear pavers and wall, we discussed. Pavers are gonna go where the existing ones are now.
Yes, ma'am, kind of in that area between where the new porch will be and the wall.
Okay. Should we move on to the outdoor shower?
So I didn't see anything about, we have rules on outdoor showers that have to be obscured by some kind of vegetation that'll grow tall enough to obscure it from the street, because you can see it from the street. So we don't care what kind of vegetation it is, as long as it fully covers. You know, you can put a
Okay.
bush in there, you know, doesn't make any difference, whatever you decide, but it has to be obscured from the street by some sort of privacy covering. Does that make sense?
Ma'am, may I discuss our outdoor showers? Because our outdoor showers are awesome.
I am positive that they are, but they still have to be
You may not want to
Yes.
obscure what we're going to build.
Oh, really?
It is not a kit from Home Depot.
So for public access, I think the regulations basically says that it has to have some sort of cover, right?
Well, it has to be towards the rear, out of the view.
Yeah.
When not feasible to fully conceal, they should be consolidated and placed in the least visible location. And then it talks about, doesn't really say, it just says that.
So, yeah,
for screening.
we've been kind of, modifying that because it's visible, you know, so how are you going to hide it?
Right.
Yeah.
So you hide it.
But
by-
it does talk about the top to the shower.
Okay, Tracy can idea, so you got the, I'm sure it'll be beautiful.
It doesn't actually say they have to have.
No, it doesn't need to have a top.
You know, they just
No, but they
add
reference it here.
Okay.
When they say divorce, it
Oh,
just has
the
to.
top. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha. Thanks, Tracy.
So it doesn't require a top.
So we will be constructing a privacy top on it. We do that a lot of times where we have homes very close by to the outdoor shower to, for lack of a better way of putting it, keep creeps from being creepy. But it's a louvered top. It's made out of AZAC PVC. We custom build it, and it has the slats. So the person showering, I mean, it's an outdoor shower. If you like to shower in the rain, you still get that rain on you. You still get the sunshine coming in, but we angle the louvers away so anybody in an upper window can't see in.
And the walls of the shower will be covered with the same hardy plank as the house.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So, and then we still have to have something to hide it from the street, hide the shower.
Yes,
The fact that
ma'am.
it's a shower.
Richard will find a very pretty piece of shrubbery, and
Okay,
I know
I'll put my best green thumbs on and
okay.
try to keep it from
Yeah,
dying.
I just think at the end of that sidewalk or somewhere there. I mean,
Yeah, just-
I mean, the problem is you basically have 3 roads around the house because you've got the alleyway in the back.
Right. Well,
I mean, that's.
Well, the front,
That
alley does not count.
Yeah.
It's only actual streets.
Yeah,
but
so because there's no public access. back
it's
there.
like not directly behind the house though, right?
it's on the side.
Right, so you're gonna see it from the front and the side.
Yeah.
Well,
You can see it, you can
there's
see it as you're
two
walking down the
houses, it's
street.
very small space between it and the next house.
But it's on
If you're
2
walking.
streets.
Yeah,
No, it's on the other side. It's not on the corner side.
No, so as you're,
It's on the
between the
Monroe
two houses.
Avenue.
yeah, you can see it as you walk down the street from either direction. So the
Yeah.
front and the side should be covered, but the back doesn't have to be, right? As far
Right.
as obscured by vegetation.
And it might be here.
So the shower is like over here,
Yeah. No, it's on the other side,
this
Between the
side.
two houses.
over here.
Okay,
It's not here, it's on this side.
okay,
Yeah, it's in between.
Yeah.
okay.
And it's back towards the rear of the home.
But because it's a corner lot, you can
See it,
see it
Yeah.
from the side street.
yeah.
It's unfortunate. Okay. Anything else on the shower?
Yes, and I may have missed it, the height of the,
Yep, so the height's typically 6 feet from the platform.
so I see there's 2 windows there that would be above it.
Yes.
So
It's gonna be, it's kind of a goofy area, right? Where we're putting the shower and where those windows are. So it's not gonna obscure the windows.
because you talked about an angle, the louver roof, so I didn't know if that, how far the pitch on that was.
I think we're more worried about, people looking in from neighbors, not to, just generally speaking.
Well, no, I'm just thinking of the physical structure, if it's 6 feet tall, and then it's gonna be an angled pitched roof, right? On top
But
of
Well,
it.
the louvers are flat. You won't see a pitch.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
And water can still go through.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
and it looks like there's some big word, access door to the crawl space.
Yep.
Is that gonna block it, or is it next to it?
So that access door is obsolete. When you walk into the side door, there is a set of stairs that take you down into the basement area.
So you're gonna remove that door or just leave it?
I think we're gonna make it look pretty, but we're not
But
gonna
it's
put new
totally
stone in there.
unusable.
I don't think that we could even find the stone.
It looks like the shower's gonna cover.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions on the shower? Okay. So then the final item is the accessory building.
Yes, so I have a request.
Here, this is where, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
On the pictures, it points to the dormers and it says hardy shingle. Is that
That's
where
the
the?
shake.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the side.
all right. So the accessory building.
So the accessory building's a shed. Initially, it was for a 10 by 12 shed, or I'm sorry, 10 by 16, right? 10 by 16, sorry about that. We have a request, if it fits with the 15 feet off the main structure of the home, if we could make that a 12 by 16. My clients think that adding those extra 2 feet may be beneficial.
Is that a zoning question, or that's a zoning question, not a historical?
Yeah.
Make sure it went through the zoning once.
Okay, so stick with the 10 by 16 for today, and then if zoning says that we could upgrade
You
it.
can go ahead and I'd say.
You can amend it,
and
just,
then-
just so you know, when you put in your building permit application, you're gonna tell us that, and I'll do another zoning review as part of that building permit.
Okay. And
I mean,
worst
we
case
can
scenario,
approve
we'll
it.
go back to the-
That way you're approved.
Based on zoning approval.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And the accessory building will have the same hardy,
I believe that, do you want to do the hardy on the accessory building, or are we painting it to match the evening blue?
I think we originally thought of just doing everything hardy.
Okay, yeah.
Just make it easy, make everything consistent.
Right.
And actually, a question for the ladies at the table. I don't know the easement, but will intrude on the easement between the alley and the existing shed?
that's zoning.
No, because they have to be, or often, I talked about the setbacks with him, so when he put that on the actual survey,
Yeah.
that's all gets done beforehand.
All right.
We just have to say yes to the look of it.
Yeah.
I asked too many questions.
Materials. Yeah. The roof is fine. So you're saying now it's going to be hardy?
Yes.
Matching the house.
French doors. That's the side facing the house.
Yes.
And the front has a garage door.
An overhead door, yeah. The idea is to put the golf cart in the shed.
Any other questions?
No.
I think we did that pretty good.
Yeah.
That was easier than that brick wall.
We approved all of the recommended approval of all of the design elements that are listed here, with the addition of a vegetative screen for the shower.
Oh, the color.
I don't care. We don't care about the
Okay.
color.
We're not
So we want to paint it the Brunson's color, the bee
You
yellow.
can paint it purple.
There you go. The more Victorian, the better, right? Yes,
Yeah,
I spent a lot of time in Cape May, so I understand what Victorian looks like.
Yeah, so we don't care about color.
So,
That's it.
Excuse me. Can you add also to that motion about the shutters, because
Oh,
they
yeah.
were not
So
actually in the
shutters have to-
application?
To look like they're functional. If they're fixed, they have to look like they will cover the window. So, did I miss anything else? Okay.
I second the
all in
motion.
favor?
Aye.
Passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You did a really good job on
You did.
putting it together.
Thank you.
You need to come and give a seminar.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you for coming.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of administrative
Okay.
annual report.
So for agenda item 8A is the annual report. This annual report will also go to the town council, and the one that is attached is the actual annual report that we sent in for our certified local government.
I have a question, not necessarily related, but I see the section on education. And we really only had that one seminar that we had here, but I see you've done a lot online. And I went and looked at the site, and they have on demand.
They do.
How would someone sign
I've,
up?
I've actually emailed everyone, and I didn't get any responses. Herb would actually come and sit in my office, but now that I get them, I had to make sure, now that I get them for online, I can forward them to you.
Please? Because a lot of them are just not able to attend.
Yeah.
And they had some really good ones on demand. Okay.
And I do believe, let's see, Patricia and Libby, they attended an actual camp.
Yeah.
And that was, when was that, November?
Yeah.
Because I noticed that was not in the report. You
It-
only go to October.
For the CLG report, we only go to October, but it was in the actual annual report for the town council, because that's January to December.
So just all the stuff you did, so you've justified your existence. That's what we always say reports are, just see what I did.
So we do need just a motion to accept the annual report.
I make a motion to accept the annual report.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. And there was nothing else, right? That's it? I think so. What are the minutes that are at the end of this?
The state, because we're part of what's called the certified local
Government.
certified CLG, which is a program that's run through the Department of Historic Resources. We are a member of that. They require to see a copy of one of our minutes. They require to see
that's-
certain
It's
documentation
just a
from us.
copy for them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And I know and I know it may look like we're trying to justify our existence. This report does go to the town council. It's not just to justify what
No,
we're doing,
I
but
was
I
being
want them to be
facetious.
aware of the workload of this department and this board in particular, because you really are close to one of the hardest working boards that we have in Cape Charles.
And I was amazed at the administrative approval that you've done.
Yes, and we thank that because through the change that were made to the guidelines and the ordinance that allowed more of those to move in our direction from an administrative viewpoint, not having to go to the full board. And I know for the public at large to see this, we gave totals. I'm just trying to see if I can find them fast enough. So you met, I don't know, a lot.
Every month.
Every single month you met, and overall you reviewed as a board 55 applications, and of that there were roughly 40 or 41 in total, because one wasn't approved after the fact. So we have had violations that have come forward to get approved after the fact. But 41 of those applications dealt with renovations, additions, and new construction. That's a significant workload for you to carry and get over the line here. So yes, from the public point of view, this is a very hard-working board. I know sometimes there's still a perception that this is a difficult board to get through. I recognize some of the conversations we have, like we did this evening, both very interactive and engaged conversations with the property owners and their representatives or their contractors. But it's necessary for you to understand what they're trying to do and what the builder or contractor or property owner is hoping to achieve in their work. And we can find that happy medium to meet both objectives here. So I think it is valid and relevant. I wish people would not view this as any sort of trepidation or hardship or dread or fear coming before this board. I think this is a board that is open and receptive and wants to work with a property owner, and I think we continue to show that even as of tonight's meeting. We've showed that. So.
I think the first gentleman with the pub was a good example of how helpful it is to
have them here.
the applicant
Yes.
to be able to have those questions.
Because I can answer what I think is the correct answer, but he is the property owner, and he can tell you exactly how this is going to function and work for the running of that operation. So he knew to be here. It just slipped his mind. No harm, no foul. We were able to reach him and get him here to get the questions answered. So with that said, I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox now. So I'll move over to my monthly report to you. We did approve 2 minor exemptions since we last met, one at 535 Monroe Avenue and one at 332 Randolph Avenue. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have on that. In addition, we also issued a notice of violation on your behalf for 509 Madison Avenue. We did a stop work order first that was issued on February 3rd with a notice of violation that we've issued to follow up on that of February 7th, detailing exactly what the issue was, which was the constructing an accessory structure without receiving the required zoning clearance and HDR approval through a certificate of appropriateness. And specifically, just so you know the location, if you're not familiar with it, that is visible from the street, which thus requires your approval of the accessory structure. So we are still working with the property owner to get that resolved and to come forward to you for not quite an after the fact in the process violation. So we are working to get that paperwork advanced so that we can get that on your agenda as quickly as possible to take up.
Yeah, so it's visible from the street only because there's an empty lot next to it,
Yes.
right? If I remember it, it's like 3 houses down from me, even though it's 509 and 517.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
it's just
yeah.
unfortunate that
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And that's all I have for the monthly report for you.
So if it wasn't visible from the street,
Then,
he wouldn't need anything?
no, he still would have been in violation for not getting a zoning clearance and getting an administrative approval for a certificate of appropriateness. The violation doesn't rise in magnitude just because it didn't go to the board. He failed on two components to get in compliance, and that is the violation.
difference was coming to us versus administrative.
Yes. Okay,
Okay. Thank you, Katie.
you're welcome.
All right.
You all set?
Yeah.
I'll move the adjourn.
All in favor? Yes, yes. Meeting adjourned.